Hello and welcome again to Mrs. Bowles and Mr. Eckerman's World History 9, Chapter 16. 16.2 The Foundations of European Exploration. Main idea. Technological improvements led to exploration and fostered the growth of a new economy. As scientific advances continued, they would soon greatly affect trade and the political balance of power in Europe. Rewards were offered for a device to measure longitude, needed to help ships navigate more accurately. Over the 100 years that it did take to get that device, many others were invented. Improvements in technology. Compass. A navigational instrument created in the 1300s that uses a magnetized piece of metal that points to the north. Sailors of the 1500s had only a few simple tools, such as the astrolabe, to guide them. Using the position of the sun and stars, these explorers sailed the oceans of the world. Improvements in technology. In the early 1400s, an Italian scholar translated an ancient book called Guide to Geography from Greek into Latin. The book had been written by Ptolemy in the 2nd century CE. Printed copies of the book inspired new interest in cartography. European mapmakers used Ptolemy's work to draw more accurate maps. Ptolemy's works had survived the Middle Ages thanks in part to Muslim scholars of the Byzantine Empire. This map is a world map from 1565 showing Columbus's newly discovered New World. It is different from the previous map that I showed you because this does include the Americas. By the 1800s, technology had continued to improve navigation as seen below. A sextant works by measuring angles with precision to the nearest 10 seconds. A degree of latitude or longitude is divided into 60 minutes. A minute is divided into 60 seconds. As you can see in the photograph on the right, a 19th century sextant is featured. The photograph taken and available from the Naval Museum in Madrid, Spain. Ships built around 1200 AD had a side rudder and rectangular sails that could only take advantage of prevailing winds and only maneuverable by use of oars. Ships built around 1350 AD had begun to add additional sails, and hulls were made longer, but were more vulnerable to leaks. By the time Columbus sailed in 1492, shipbuilding had improved by adding additional sails in a triangular shape for maneuverability, and had a rear rudder and were less vulnerable to leaks. Economic change. The Commercial Revolution. An era between 1400 and 1750 when Europeans made major changes to their economies due to new exploration. Before the 1300s in Europe, coins changed value depending on how much precious metal they contained. Italy was the first to produce coins with fixed values. This helped to encourage international trade and banking, which helped to finance the Renaissance. Banks were able to store large sums of money that could be lent to governments or businesses wanting to explore overseas. Economic change. Joint stock company. Business organization developed during the Commercial Revolution in which owners raised money by selling shares or stock in the company. In the painting, the Muscovy Company or the Russian Company was a joint stock company that had a monopoly of trade between England and Russia, then known as Muscovy. Here, Jerome Horsey meets with Ivan VI, or the Terrible, at his palace in Moscow. Mercantilism. European rulers believed that piling up wealth was the best way to build their country's power. For this reason, they tried to reduce the things they bought from other countries and increase the items they sold, also known as favorable balance of trade. Having colonies was a key part of this policy. Nations looked to their colonies to supply raw materials for their industries. They profited by turning the materials into finished goods that they could sell to other countries and to their own colonies. To protect the valuable trade with their colonies, rulers often forbade colonists from trading with other nations. Mercantilism, tariffs, import taxes on foreign goods, subsidies, government grants of money. Social change. Advances in technology and economic changes did not by themselves lead to exploration and colonization. Social change. Remember the 3 G's of exploration: God, greed, glory. God. People hope to gain religious freedom and escape persecution at home for their religious beliefs and practice. Greed. People hope to become wealthy, either through possessing gold, silver, and precious jewels they might find in foreign lands or by profits made in the lucrative spice trade. And glory. People who took great risks could also hope to gain glory and be rewarded for their service to the crown. In addition, other factors contributed to individuals' motivation to take dangerous journeys to unknown lands through uncharted waters. The Renaissance and the scientific revolution created curiosity and desire to explore and learn more about the world. Population increase in Europe after 1500 produced crowding in urban areas, which led people to want to leave.